Hi, good morning, class. This is Mr. Goyette. Just wanted to check in with all of you again this morning to talk a little bit about the election, touch in on some bipartisan spirit here, to remember our history and the resolution that we find as we confront conflict in our republic and look for ways to create that more perfect union. The flag behind me is the Whiskey Rebellion flag. Whiskey Rebellion was one of the first tests of our nation when George Washington was still in office. It was over taxes, specifically taxes on whiskey. Whiskey was a commodity. It was used to actually pay debts. It was very valuable. It was also easily transported, other than beer that you had to keep cold because beer has yeast in it. So whiskey was easy to transport. The government wanted to tax it. Why? Well, they had to pay for a war that they just won. They just won the American Revolution. And as we know, wars are expensive. You have to buy guns, uniforms, and everything else that goes into putting troops on in battle. So that whiskey tax was supposed to pay for that war to some degree. So that's the flag behind me. A bunch of former revolutionary soldiers and some other civilians rejected the tax and thought that it was another taxation without representation that the country had just fought over with King George. But unlike this situation, the taxes were going to the Republic, our own nation. So it was controversial. That was put down by Washington and troops that were sent out to put down the militia that were combating the tax. Think about the taxes we pay for things like roads, schools, the military. Think about our firemen and our police that are paid for by our taxes. Also, think about how taxes can be burdensome. Think about how taxes can sometimes hurt families. There's really two arguments here, and they should be calmly and rationally discussed, not partisanly approached. Partisan thought usually is groupthink, and it usually goes off the rails because there's good reasons for taxation and there's bad. Even in Adam Smith's Wealth of Nation, he points out that there's something called responsible taxation. So in our capitalist concept of how countries should run, taxation is part of that discussion. Even Trump's tariffs, which in some ways helped propel the economy to great heights, also hurt some farmers, and there was a lot of pushback on those tariffs because taxes are usually passed on to consumers. Taxes, and a tariff is a tax, is usually absorbed and paid for by everyday folks like myself and other families here at the school. So taxation is generally can solve some problems for a nation, but it's usually unpopular because it means that we have to dig into our own pockets to pay for stuff. Sometimes it's not spent well by the federal government. So there it is, your Whiskey Rebellion flag. Look up some more information on it if you have time today. Thanks. Bye.